Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to get it. He haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good afternoon and welcome back to the iFormula League Season 7 F3 Series Round 1 live from Silverstone. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Bradley Dalton, who's going to be here providing us with commentary alongside myself of all the action that's going to be happening here as well. 22 cars are going to be taking to this epic circuit for a 26-lap feature race. They will have to make a pit stop, but to be fair to them, let's see how they all get on. We'll bring Bradley in and he can give us a bit more information about the series. Bradley, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. I am doing well, James. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone here. Good looking little calendar setup that we've got coming in for this iFL F3 series. And it all starts out here at the iconic Silverstone circuit. I don't think I need to give Silverstone an introduction here, but for those of you who aren't familiar with Silverstone, it's set in the UK. It's a beautiful, beautiful track, iconic for many, many reasons, and it's appropriate to start an F3 season here in Silverstone, so I'm quite happy with it. Going through, we'll go next week to Hungary. From there, we'll hit up Barcelona. Then we'll jump over to my neck of the woods and go Circuit of the Americas. And then we'll go to Interlagos. Jump from there, the 3rd of March, we'll go into Spa. We'll jump to the 10th of March down into the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari. Again, another track that I don't think needs a real introduction there. On the 17th of March, we go to the Red Bull Ring. On the 31st of March, it'll be Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. From the 7th of April, it is Monza. The 21st of April will be Suzuka. And then we'll round out this 12 calendar season here in these F3 cars at Circuit Zandvoort. Time always sessions opening at 11 a.m. Drivers get 60 minutes of practice. They get a good qualifying in. And then it is a 50% GP. One pit stop is required during the session. They run on 50% fuel. And James, just from the bit of practice I've been watching this morning and this little bit of qualifying, we've got some good drivers that seem to know what they're doing and can get these F3 cars around a lap.
Yeah, they definitely can. The likes of Mackenzie Room, we know from other F3 series, Christian Glamseater as well. Marian Barbarou, who was in the Super Super Formula Series here and as well. Robert Ridgway, who has obviously been in other series that I've seen. Rachel Jimenez is back this season as well. That's absolutely amazing. Bossman itself, Alexander Shana, is also out on track. So that's absolutely quality that is here. We've got some new drivers as well. I'm going to be interested to see how the likes of James Mollaire goes, Tyler Nielsen, Scott Barton. Now, Scott makes me laugh here as well because Scott I know from an Australian league, and I know Scott is Australian. So currently in Australia, I believe it's about 5 a.m. Now, for Scott, that's incredible dedication. Is actually in certain parts of Australia it's 4:33 in the morning if he's in Adelaide. Kingston's 5:33, Perth is 1:33 in the morning, and Christmas Island is 12:30. So either way, it's very late for Scott, and he is out here on the grid rocking it for Australia. I do love the fact that he is doing that as well. We saw the Super Formulas here last night. There wasn't, unfortunately, a massive amounts of grid. So if you do want to get yourselves involved, guys, you can. Please head over to iFormulaLeague.com and get yourself signed up for the Super Formula League because it is absolutely amazing. One of the things we were discussing yesterday with me and Zach, though, is although Silverstone is a great iconic circuit, right? Everybody knows it. You know, it's incredible. It doesn't always produce the best racing. It's sometimes just meh. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm hoping these little F3s can put in some action here today.
Yeah, and I think really the issue with Silverstone comes down to like Formula One is whenever the racing isn't as exciting, which granted with, reg changes in F1 and things in recent years, like that's gotten better with racing and competition. But these junior formulas, these F3 cars, these F2 cars, these spec cars really, really give us good racing. And it's really nice for me to see. And I'm really, really expecting a lot out of these guys to just get good racing. I'm hoping to see a lot come through because the fact is the cars are set to spec. The cars are set, there's similar power, there's similar weight. You don't have a bunch of mix up. So it just presents closer, more exciting racing. And if you look over at our timing screen, like these drivers are pretty comparable in time here across a 25-minute session. Like we're not that separated in pace. Some of the lower down grid cars might be slightly slower, but qualifying isn't everything, and race pace does make a difference. So I'm expecting a very, very good close race through as long as all the drivers keep their nose clean. Again, it's round one here of a good new season. We'll see how things play out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see on the left-hand side, guys, as well, there is numbers. Now, we do have a pro and AMs. The pros do not have 0 in front of their number. So Rachel Jimenez is an AM, Serrano's an AM, Shana's an AM, Barcol's an AM, Hinchcliffe's an AM, and Navarro, Clark, and Junker, and Buchanan are all AMs, and then the pros do not have numbers, zeros in front of them. Okay, so there is a pro and AM race session here as well. The AM score 30 points and then down the order in 1, so 30, 29, 28, 27. The AM scores 25 points for the win, which means then it's 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, and so on. So that's going to make the racing a lot more interesting as well, Brad, the fact that we've got pro and AMs on track.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. I like that this league is doing that because then you get the fun mix of the pro drivers, the AM drivers, and the teams, because they do, of course, require all of these drivers to be signed into a team. So you get that big mix up, and it does show, hey, just because you're an AM driver doesn't mean you can't compete. Like, go through, push, do your best, and go. And it's going to present some challenging racing, and it's going to just, you can look and say, oh, looking at, Mackenzie Roon up front, number 51, that's a pro driver. You look back at Anthony Serrano, 013, that's a pro AM driver. Or an AM driver, sorry. Mix things up here. And so you can kind of tell the experience levels as well and tell the differences.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that they've got to expect. We've got the lead in AM, which is Rachel Jimenez, only 1 second away from the leading pros. So that's going to bring tight racing here. What I don't want is the entitlement of the AMs who's going to sit back and think, oh, well, you're an AM, you should move out the way. You know, I'm hoping the pros will be like, okay, well, we're racing, let's race. You know, because they're not puppies. They're not just going to roll over, tickle their belly. I saw Rachel Jimenez last season, and she definitely ain't a pushover. You know, she's going to put the effort in. There's going to be some great racing. And I think at the end of the day, the pros have got to be aware that the AMs are here, and they're here to fight. They're not here just to make the numbers up. They are here to do a great job, and that's one of the things we will look out for as well. We are just waiting for the grid to come through. We're just waiting for the qualifying session to end, and then we will bring up the grid. But the pros got to be careful of the AMs here, Brad, and I think that's one of the things that these guys are going to have to be mindful of.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because when you think of like pro drivers and AM drivers, the first thing that comes to mind for me, James, is going to be IMSA. It's going to be that mix up, you know, where you separate the pros and the AMs and you open that up a bit more, even though they're in the same car. This league smashes them all together, but still awards separate points. So the pro class is going to have separate points from the AM class, but then you're still going to have your feature and your awards and everything go through with your grid, even though they're presenting that separate. So I don't even want to, while it is separated in that sense of the class, you can't look at the racing the same way, because everyone's put together, everyone's racing each other. So it is going to be that battle, even though it is, you know, pro driver versus AM driver. It's just, at the end of the day, it's racing.
Yeah, it is. We've just gone into the brief warm-up session here before you bring you up the grid. Thank you so much. If you have joined us, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz. It is completely free. It will cost you absolutely nothing, apart from you get to watch some great racing, and we've still got more racing coming up later on today as well. The IGP F3 series is later. If you're an F3 fan, that will be another one that you need to come and get yourselves involved with. And then next week we have no fewer than another 12 broadcasted races across the board. Clios, MX-5s, we've got GT4s, we've got late models, we've got radicals, we've got GT3, we've got the return of the VWSC NARS round 1 as well. So we've even got R-Factor modded, we've got TCRs, we've got a Super Formula, we've got the modern series it is for VWSC returning next week as well. We've got the iRacers Elite Mix series, more action for you, and then of course we're back with the 2 F3s on Sunday. So there is a lot for you to get involved with as well. So be aware, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and you will see some great epic racing. Frank Biza in YouTube chat there as well. Pro-Am classes doubles the championship battles on track. Now, one of the things I want to talk about that, Frank. Now, obviously it was just Pro and Am. One of the interesting things, I think, is when I talk about entitlement from the pros, because the AMs are not battling the pros, I think that sometimes the pros will feel that the AMs need to move out the way because it is separate championships. So if the leading AM is setting, say, for instance, 5th overall, and they've got the pro of Mackenzie Roon, is it really worth the AM battling the pro? No. Because all that leading AM's going to do is slow everybody down and bring second place AM into the battle. And I think that's one of the things here as well, Brad, that they've got to be aware of, is from the pros' point of view, it's about using the racecraft that they've got to realise, is it worth fighting this pro, or is it just worth letting them go?
And I mean, I'll challenge that a little bit too, just kind of looking, because the thing is, so it's 2 drivers championships. It's the pro championship, it's the AM championship, but it's also a team championship. So then when you combine that through, for the AMs, it might be worth a little bit of a scrap. And of course, pro versus AM is set by I ratings. So it could be still worth it for those AMs to fight, especially if it's going to make the difference in the team championship come the end of this 12 race season. So we'll see some strategy play through. I hope we don't see, any big marks, any big dramas between pros and AMs and back and forths. But, I think later in the season is where we'll start to see that mix of, okay, are the AM drivers going to fight the pros? Or are they going to let them go? Whenever you start to get down to those very nitty gritty team championship deciding moments, especially I'd say in the back third of the season.
Yeah, and that's what I think. They've got to just use their brains a little bit here as well. Michael Amadeus in YouTube chat. Let's go, Ian Lance. Ian at the moment is in that 24 car. He is a pro. Now, we've just had confirmation that the AMs you do not need to move over for the pros. Everyone is out there fighting for points, so they just need to fight, apparently. So the pro and AMs can scrap, and that's come from Alexander Sharnay himself. Bossman has put that out and told everybody, fight away, dear sir, fight away. So that's going to make it even more interesting here, Brad, as well. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a good scrap. It's always a good scrap when you FF freeze, and it's definitely a good scrap when you see him at Silverstone here as well. I don't have brains. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. How you finish in a race affects the points you get in your class, so AM drivers have every incentive to battle pros for these. Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, they're separate championships. That's what the rules state. They do state that they are separate championships. So from an AM's point of view, I think, Brad, they've got to weigh up the pro. The pros and cons almost.
Yeah, it really is going to sit down. It's going to be that decision, what do they want to do? Do they really, really want to compromise themselves in a big battle, or is it better to just let things go? And again, I think round one, we're just going to see everyone battle. I don't think they're going to care about pro versus AM versus anything. I think it's going to be just get on track, run, prove your point, and get your way forward. I think really where we're going to see that sort of strategy of class battling and the decision-making of, is it worth it for me to battle this pro driver? Is it not worth it? I think that won't come into play until we hit, March, whenever we hit our back half of the season. But looking at the grid, James, everything sets up good, and I think we're set up for a good race all the way through for a very, very exciting Silverstone.
Yeah, we are. Here is the grid on the front row. It's Mackenzie Roon and Christian Glamseater here as well. James Moller and Robert Ridgway bring up row 2. In row 3, Marion Barbaru and Tyler Nilsson. In row 4 is Scott Barton and Ian Lance. In row 5 is Victor Solano and Rachel Jimenez. Rachel, of course, leading the AMs. Anthony Serrano and Adrian Colaseed in row 6. So that's going to be an interesting one. In row 7, Alexander Shana and Mateus Baucar in 13th and 14th. In row 8 is Alex Hinchcliffe and Carlos Navarro. Row 9 is Jack Clark and Hans Juncker. And row 10 is Patrick Metrovics and Corey Buchanan. And then in row 11 is Kurt Rogers and John Journey here as well. So stay tuned for this one, guys. Sit back, get your popcorn, have a drink, nestle in, and let's get racing. And we're gonna be up and underway. The lights are off and it's green, 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 and it's Mackenzie Roon taking the whole shot here as well. Christian Glamseater in second, James Moles fighting right behind him. Then we've got Robert Ridgway on track with Marion Barbaru, of course, who took the Super Formula win last night here as well, with Tyler Nielsen sending it free wide. Tyler, they're going, it's a spinner at the back. Rachel Jimenez, I believe, is also involved in that one here as well. It's Hinchcliffe, Clark, Navarro, Juncker, Buchanan, Metrovics, Rogers, and Rachel Jimenez all involved in that one. And we are already up and running with the safety car here this evening. And that gives us time to look back here, Brad, and see what happened in that corner. There was a little touch there. That was the first start to it. So already the wing has gone off the 045 car, which is Alexander Shana. And then unfortunately, it all just went a little bit wrong after that as well. And let's have a look from this angle, and we'll be able to see what actually happened. Colour seats in the blue and orange on the right-hand side. He goes in. Whoa! Unfortunately,
Anthony Serrano.
Was it Anthony Serrano in the 067?
Yeah, they're in the yellow car, just getting help and giving help going around, and then takes out Colseed there early on. And that, unfortunately, is not the way you want to start the first round of the season. But hey, turn one, lap one, incidents happen here. Yeah, watch the 013 there.
It's
not
not.
The 067 and Rachel.
Yeah, watch Rachel. She turns in on him. She turns in on the inside of Colossi. She's on the right. The 067 comes straight across, turns in on Nielsen, turns in on Colossi, and unfortunately, I've got to look at it, Rachel. might be down to you on that one. May have caused that little bit of dramatics at the start there as well. Okay, Frank, welcome in. Anyway, they are, but giving up P5 to a pro means fewer points in your class championship. Yes, the pro earns more for a position, but in the class championship battles, every position matters. And I do understand what you're saying. I think the thing is, it's just the difference in points that separates the championship. So it makes you wonder whether or not it is worth fighting. It makes you wonder if it's not worth fighting. And to be honest, I sometimes sit back and think if you're leading your class and you've got the pro coming through who's absolutely flying on you, Brad, you might as well just make it easy and move out of the way, especially if he's quicker than you.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that you have to look at with these separate classes is pace difference does make a big change. Like if I'm in, it's kind of negated where we're in the same car. And again, looking at lap times from quali, it's the drivers aren't that different in pace. But really, you know, if you're 5 seconds a lap slower than the guy behind you, we talk about this in multi-class racing a lot. Don't make it harder on the car behind than you have to. But I also do understand Frank's point there where it is you're battling for that championship. You need those points, but it is also a case of, you know, what sort of hassle and problems do you want to set up for later? Because if the guy behind you is a pro car and they're going a lot faster, it's really not worth it making a problem. And I would honestly say that regardless if it is multi-class or same car, whatever it may be, if the guy behind you is significantly faster and you know there's no chance to defend it, just don't make it a problem. And just sometimes as a racer, you just have to kind of accept where you're at. And I know that's easier said than done. I'm sitting, you know, obviously behind the screen commentating. These guys are actually driving. The adrenaline's pumping. But sometimes it is the case of you just have to recognize the guy behind you is faster and you don't have a good chance to defend it. And do you want to fight him and risk him wrecking you? Or do you want to just let it go and then continue your race and finish through? And again, these are the pros and cons to weigh.
Yeah, there is nothing that you've said in that statement, Brad, that I don't agree with. I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, you've got to weigh up the situation. And you know, this is where it all brings in this, you know, facilitating passes and stuff that we talked about the other day. And, you know, it's just the wording of things gives people a different insight to how it should behave. And I think that's the problem. I think sometimes you've got to think long term, and you know, you don't think the now. It's never about the now in motor racing unless you're on the final lap and you need to go over the checkered flag in first place. That's the now. Don't think about it. You've got 26 laps here, Brad. There's no point rushing and fighting out with a pro on lap 15. Just let him go, follow him, and allow him to drag you up there.
Right. And the thing is that, so again, I say it, you and me talking about it, we can very clearly see the long picture. These drivers are sitting in these cars and they're thinking, okay, I can't get past now. I need to keep going. And part of that is a racecraft thing, but part of that too is these drivers, if they have a spotter or a crew chief or an engineer behind them, that engineer is going to be that kind of saving grace, that big picture of, hey, this is a 26 lap race. We've got plenty of time to go. Hey, this is a 12 race season. We've got plenty of laps in the season to go. Unless you're the final lap of the race and the final lap of the final race of the season, sometimes just breathing for 5 seconds is the better option. Just let the guy go, let it go. And hey, you let him go and he goes through and then makes an error 2 corners later, you're going to get it back and you can keep going. But again, that's where sometimes having that race engineer, that spotter behind you to think that through. And we see this in real life all the time. In F1, you know, Mercedes, Hamilton and Russell, you will see them call it out and they'll say, hey, let George through, he's faster. And Hamilton will immediately go, no. Or they'll flip-flop. Hamilton will say, hey, I need George to pick up the pace or you need to let me around him. Yeah. And sometimes there's a team strategy, there's different things going on that in the moment the drivers just don't see. And it is something that's hard to learn as a driver, but it's something that, especially with this mixed class, this mixed championship, the drivers are going to have to look long picture of the season. Now, if we're race 12, I'm saying none of this, I'm telling them to go race.
Yeah, I agree. I do fully agree. The pace car lights are out. We're going to be going green this time around, and we've still got Mackenzie Roon there as well. Anthony Serrano is now out of the pits. He will join on to the back. Hans Juncker there as well has also been out. John Journey has not unfortunately started, but I'll give you a rundown of who was involved in that lap 1 incident. Anthony Serrano, Adrian Cullerseed, Rachel Jimenez, Alex Hinchcliffe, Jake Clark, Carlos Navarro, Hans Juncker, Cody Buchanan, Patrick Metrovics, Curtis Rogers. You've got Jack Clark as well. So some of them were the main cause. Obviously, we know it kicked off with Jimenez and Killerseed at the beginning, and then everybody else behind, unfortunately, just got tied up into it here, Brad, which then allowed and caught up everybody else, didn't it? And it's always going to be tough when you've got that amount of cars in the incident.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, with these big grids. And again, we see this in real life. It's a case of, head-up driving. You need to look ahead of you a little bit and be prepared. And sometimes you just can't. Like, for example, in that incident, we saw a driver not hold the brakes, roll backwards, hit someone else. So sometimes it happens, and that's just the nature of this racing. And head down, keep going, because the thing is, you've still got 23 laps to go here. You can crawl your way back up the grid and up the field. Just head down, one pass at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that Cullerseed, I believe, is one of the faster ones on the grid, and I don't really feel that he's going to have an issue coming through, but that brings a different mindset to Adrian as well. He's got to come through with a thought process of, I can't be rushing my maneuvers. If he gets one place every lap or 2 places per lap, he's going to be right back at the front again. So for Adrian Cullerseed here, I think it's going to be really interesting how he's going to cope with it as well, how he's going to get through, and I think that's going to be really exciting to watch. They are coming through the Maggotts and Beckett's complex. There is Mackenzie Roon here, as we'll go on to the airbox on the left-hand side. Of course, their air intake, and they're coming out now, heading down Chapel, down the hangar straight here as well, before we go down into Stowe. Then we've got a few more corners before we go racing once more after this safety car. This was caused by a Jimenez Cullerseed Serrano incident coming into the loop, and that unfortunately is what happened here. We can show you briefly again, and if you watch the outside car of Rachel Jimenez, you will see in the blue and white, Alexander Shana had already lost his front wing. You can see the dive at the middle from the yellow and green. Whether or not he should have been there, that's a different story. Contact, and unfortunately everybody else had to check up, and that is what caused the problem. You can see all the other cars lining up behind them there as well. Right, here we go. Pace car's going to be coming in. Now it's all on Mackenzie Roon. He is the leader. Would you bolt yet? Would you not? You got too early. I would have held him one more time, but Mackenzie Roon has gone. He has gone. And Christian Glamsitter has gone with him here as well. He's got to try and warm up his tyres. Glamsitter weaving there. Robert Ridgway tucked up right behind. Marion Barbarou as they go through Abbey, up through Farm Curve now, coming into Village. Oh, Nielsen. Tyler Nielsen all on his own there, Brad. Rachel Jimenez, there was contact with somebody. Why? Where is everybody going? Did somebody leak oil onto the track? Are we just gone Bambi on ice? What is the situation? We have got more spinners than a ballerina at a ballet at the moment. What is going on here? Unbelievable action right at the beginning of the restart, Brad.
Yeah, I think that's a case of drivers just under-anticipating warming up those tires. Thankfully, no safety car recalled, even though I think there was about 4 cars that spun in the mix of that. No safety car, thankfully, and yeah, these F3 cars, you have to keep those tires warmed up through the caution. Otherwise, it is indeed Bambi on ice. It's Swan Lake, and you are going to be doing pirouettes around as if you were at the Olympics for ice skating. And drivers getting through here. This is going to be Nelson around the inside of Clark, going up for P12. Good pass through, going around in Woodcote, and now we hit through Cops Corner and hold on to it as you can. We can see these F3 cars again. They're keeping real close to each other up through Maggotts Beckett's, and the drivers are doing real good. Side-by-side action for the lead, though, James. And I think we have a new leader here. Glamsetter, number 18, new leader here on lap 4.
Yeah, he's taking that away from Mackenzie Roon. Mackenzie Roon's not going to give up. We've got Miller in third, also sat there. We've got Ridgway battling out with Barbaro once more. We've got Corey Buchanan, the AM. He is currently fighting here with Nielsen. Then further back, we got Ian Lance from the Lumos E-Motorsports fighting it out with Patrick Metrovics from the Sipping Smoke Racing team. Do love that. Good job on that one. And Mackenzie Roon is unfortunately looking like he's going backwards here, as we can see over his rear right tyre what is going to be happening. And once more, you can see some of the things here as well. You got James Miller closing right in behind him at the moment. And for Miller, it's one of them situations, Brad, whether or not you make the move or whether or not you hold station for the next 20 laps, should we say, and then on the last lap you try and make that move. That's going to be the interesting thing. Now we've got Barbaro. He's also got Scott Barton behind him. So Scott there, the Australian's going to be trying to fight his way through as well there. But that restart just seemed to be insane. I wasn't even quite sure what was going on. Matthias Balcar didn't even get onto the actual lap. Then Tyler Nielsen was the first one to go. He hits the grass. Then here comes Ian Lance. He's locked up in the cold as well. Carlos Navarro does the same thing. And it is literally, then Curtis Rogers also has a moment as well. So there was a lot going on at the restart. And it was literally like somebody had dropped oil after the restart, Brad, and they were just all going off.
You know, if it wasn't for the fact that we're in sim racing, I would tell you that was an oil leak. But really, it is just, I mean, I think it just caught everyone off guard. The restart did. Even though they got a couple pace laps, things cooled down. What's not cooling down is this battle for the lead between Glamsetter and Roon here. Mackenzie Roon putting a lot of pressure on Christian Glamsetter and just trying to hold on. Because the thing is, Mackenzie Roon knows that behind is James Miller, who is very, very fast. But Mackenzie Roon purple through sector 2, 3, and 4, so showing a lot of good pace and really pushing Christian Glamsetter here lap after lap. And Mackenzie Roon knows that James Miller is right behind. Very, very quick driver there for the Knox E-Motorsports in P3. And these three, I think, are going to be our big battle that we'll have to watch for most of the race.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Glamsetter in the front. Maroon has just set the fastest lap over on lap 5. This is, of course, after the restart that we had with the initial chaos. And then the restart, there was more chaos, which seemed very, very bizarre as well. I didn't even get a chance to write down what was going on. All I just put is Bambi there as well on my note sheet. So unfortunately, there was just quite a lot of people who just went hurtling off the side of the road once more. And it was a very interesting restart for some of them, and especially for Matthias Balcar, who didn't even get over the line. Ian Lance is now just about to go past Jack Clark. He is gone through from the Lumos Motorsport team there as well. He has gone through, and he is now up into 15th overall for Ian Lance. So great job from him, recovering, of course, from his spin on the restart. We've got Corey Buchanan. He is under pressure from Colourseed. This is what we said about Colourseed's move. How's his mindset going to be as well? He's just got to make up places where he can, stay away from anybody that's likely to give him a little bit of hassle. Please don't go too wide through Magnus and Beckett. It's not going to work. One of you will end up out on the grass here, Brad, and they've got to be mindful of that. But for Adrian Colourseed, he's got to be head down and just go, 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 isn't it? And we'll go back up to that lead battle here as well between Glamsetter and Roon and Moller.
Yeah, Glamsetter, Roon, and Miller, again, just keeping position, keeping pressure, a little bit of a wiggle there from Glamsetter on power, going down onto the Hamilton straight. And as we watch, I think Roon is playing a little bit of strategy game here, trying to push Glamsetter just enough to try to wear out those tires, try to find the mistake, and another little wiggle there from Glamsetter, but doing very, very well to hold things together. Again, all three of these drivers are pro drivers. Our first AM driver is in P8 there of Rachel Jimenez, but these top three showing the pro level and really, really keeping things forward. But for Mackenzie Roon, it does become a question of where are you going to do the dive? Where are you going to try to make the pass? Is it going to be the end of a straight? Are you going to try to set things up well out of Maggots and Beckett's? You know, Silverstone has plenty of passing zones and has not a lot of passing zones at the same time. And I think this is going to be probably one of our best chances here for Mackenzie Roon to try to set something up and get a pass done.
Yeah, he's going down now through the Woodcote complex into Cops. They go. Now Roon's got to set him up here. Is he going to be able to get through? Can Glebster hold him on? Here, he's not going to make it through. I think this is one of the things we talked about here as well from this perspective of Silverstone. There isn't many sudden stops, Brad, like we're hairpins. You know, you've got obviously down into Village and you've got down into the club chicane at turn 16 and 17, but there isn't many other places. So for Mackenzie Roon, he's got to use the area he has got, like the hanger straight. Now send it out the inside of Stowe. There goes Roon now. Is Glamson going to let him go through? He's got to, because otherwise they're going to bring Malaire back into it. Roon's going to make it through on the inside. Job done for Mackenzie Roon. Glamsitter's not giving up though. He's going side by side. Glamsitter comes through again into club there, and Mackenzie Roon, he tried and he just could not wrap up the deal. I want to go down to Ian Lance here at the moment, because Lance just unfortunately has lost that position to Corey Buchanan in front of him. This is a battle of a pro for Ian Lance and an am for Buchanan. Lance is coming back at him, coming down into the club chicane as well. Gonna unfortunately do that. But Ian Lance, yeah, he went in far too hot. He literally went in far too hot there as well. And Shana is under pressure from the recovering Tyler Nielsen. Nielsen's just about to go up the inside as well into the loop. He's now going to try that cutback out of Village and come down the Wellington straight with Alexander Shana there as well. He's carried more speed. Here comes Nielsen now. He's looking for the outside line. Pick a side, sir, because if you don't make a definitive decision, Shana's not going to know what you're up to. And we can see Alexander Lance, Tyler Nielsen go past Shana there, and a great job from him. It looks like Hans Juncker and Curtis Rogers has had more of an issue here as well, all on his own. I think this is coming down into club as well. And what is he done? Well, you completely missed your breaking point, dear sir, and unfortunately it takes a nice little pirouette around as well. But the front three still close together here, Brad. We've got 14 laps of racing to remain in. Still action all the way through the track.
14 laps of action, top three still holding steady, battling here. And if you are James Malaire probably has the best seat in the house right now and is just waiting on these two to do something. And here we go. Up the inside is going to go Mackenzie Roon, Christian Glamsetter around the outside here, holding the position. Now we get a switch back here. Mackenzie Roon learning from the last time, trying up the inside. Oh, almost a little too late on the brakes. Thankfully, no contact made there. And for Christian Glamsetter, it is still going to be another run here in the lead. And if you're James Malaire, you just sit back, you relax, you let these two figure it out. And the more they battle, the more they scrap, the closer you get into the mix. The big thing is you could have a moment like we saw coming out of Stowe and Vale for, who was that we were watching? Serrano or Lance and Buchanan, I believe it was,
yep.
That both of them just decided to spin at the same time and miss their braking points. You could have a moment like that, and if you sit back, the longer this race goes on, the more these two are going to push each other. And again, remember, all these drivers have to make at least one pit stop at some point, so we're hitting lap 9 of 26. What point do these drivers decide to pit?
Do you know what? It's going to be really tough, right? Because I think Mackenzie Roon has got a bit of a pace on Glamsitter. So from Mackenzie Roon's point of view, he knows he's got to go to about lap 12, lap 13 before he can really make this move and even think about pitting. For me, I would look at the undercut on Glamsitter. He's clearly got pace. Glamsitter's making it, very, very difficult for him. He's just literally putting his car in the right position. That's not allowing Roon to come through. It's just them two battling away. We've gone through Maggers and Beckett's. It's the same scenarios we've had lap over lap at the moment as well. And for Mackenzie Roon, I think the undercut may be strong. Now, what I'm worried about with Malaire is not only is he sitting back, which he should rightfully do here, Brad, the worry a bit is if he starts losing the draft, he's got a pack of wild wolves behind him in Ridgway, Barbaru, Barhin and Solano. So he's really got to make sure that he's still staying within these guys' draft to be able to stay in front of the pack behind, because the last thing he wants to do is get dragged into that pack, and then he's into a 5-car fight here.
Yeah, and the thing I'll point out looking here, Robert Ridgway was purple sector 5, which for the reference of our viewers, if you look at the track map there in the top right corner, there's little red dots that denote each sector. Of course, you're probably used to hearing 3 sectors in real life Silverstone, but iRacing does it in 5 sectors. So your 5th sector is going to be from the end of the hangar straight down to the start finish line. And Robert Ridgway setting a purple sector 5, pushing things through, and what have we caught on to here, James?
Oh, Alexander Shano, Hinchcliffe, Cullaceda, Serrano were at one point 3 wide, going down into Abbey, and Shano's managed to hold on. There was literally 0.1 between all 4 cars. That was just literally incredible. We caught the action quite late, unfortunately, but yeah, some great battling further down the field. This was for 10th and 11th in it was 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Sorry, I'll get my teeth working in a minute. And now we're looking at Mackenzie Roon going back at Glamseater once more, coming into that Maggotts and Beckett's complex. If you go too wide, it's not going to... Oh, Glamseater's all a little bit offline. Roon's going to be able to get the run. Malaire's trying to stay with him. Malaire's looking more menacing over Roon than Roon is over Glamseater at the moment. Now Malaire is having a good old go from the Knox E Motorsports point of view. Is he going to be able to make it through? He's coming down now into Stowe, turn 15. Is he going to look up the inside, just bury the corner and look at the run out of Stowe? And that's exactly what he's done here, Brad. He's in a prime position coming into club. Is he going to make the move? He's not going to make the move this time. He's just going to sit back and hold off once more.
If this opens up to a 3-way battle, it won't take long for this to become a 7-way battle. And James, let me tell you, I love it when these F3 drivers, these open wheel formula drivers, get in these big 4, 5, 6 car battles, especially when you get these spec cars. There's no difference in performance, no difference in anything crazy. It's just all down to driver racecraft. And honestly, Roon purple sector 1 there, and you can see Malaire is in the mix as well. Ridgway's not that far off. And so these drivers are really pushing each other. I think that Christian Glamsetter is starting to really feel that pressure in Mackenzie Roon. I think Mackenzie Roon has done something and just ticked things in. And as we have the run down here through the Wellington Straight, another challenge for the lead coming. Here we go around the outside here. Malaire and Roon, can you make it stick? Christian Glamsetter, such good racecraft and such good defense here, positioning that car just perfectly that Mackenzie Roon is going to have to do something a little brave and a little harsh, a little rash to try to get a pass done here on Christian Glamsetter. Not saying it can't be done, just saying that Mackenzie Roon is going to have to pull up the straps and really try to send it around.
Yeah, he's being held up. And that's no disrespect to Glamseater here as well, but I think Roon has really got the pace on him. And if he gets to lap 12 or 13 and he's still in the same position, go in. Get your pit stop out of the way. You've got to look at the undercut, because I think you will be a lot stronger when you come out than you are going in. And that's the thing I think he needs to really consider, whether or not the undercut is going to benefit him here as well. And from Roon's point of view, I would seriously be considering that, because Malaire, although not making aggressive moves with his car, he's still there. Roon's making aggressive moves constantly over Glamseater. Glamseater's just positioning his car saying, no, try again. You're not going to get through, so I think for Roon's point of view, I think he's really, if he gets to lap 13 in the same place, Brad, he's got to consider that undercut, surely.
Yeah, there's really no other option I see for him there. Other option I see, though, is if he does pit, based on my quick math, should come out ahead of Ian Lance there, P14, and should set up really well, have a couple of good laps, and if Glamsetter doesn't respond fast enough, Mackenzie Roon could just get it through pit stops, as you said. Another thing that I'm watching, though, is that battle in the background just behind. That battle with Ridgway. I've seen Ridgway breaking the toe a little bit and going through, and my question from that becomes, is Ridgway, Barbaru, and Barton watching the background as this battle is still heating up? Glamsetter, come on, mate. You've got to set this up and hold on, and Roon, you need to get this pass done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Glamset made a mistake going into Luffield, sorry, and got it a little bit all wrong there and was really under pressure. Scott Barton's under pressure as well from Victor Solano. So for Solano, he's got make his way through as well for the Inter Good Racing team here over the Valve Esports of Scott Barton, who's trying to catch up to Mario Barbaru in front of them as well. So there's still action materializing, and there's action further down. Alexander Shana is in the thick of it again with the AM of Anthony Serrano. So both AMs fighting it out here. This is for the lead AM position, believe it or not. No, this is the lead AM second. I forgot Rachel Jimenez a little bit further up the road. Apologies to Rachel on that one. We've got Hans Junker who's jumped to the pits. We've also had an incident for Curtis Rogers, but now Serrano, surely you're alongside as he's going down the hangar straight. It's side by side. Shana on the left, Serrano on the right. There's moves in the back from Colourseed. He's trying to make his way through here as well. I believe he's actually already made his way through. That was Hinchcliffe coming back through here as well. Alex Hinchcliffe trying to hang on. No, that was Colourseed in the background. I was right the first time as he's trying to make his way through the pack after being caught up in that lap one, turn one incident. He has made it through this time though, Brad. Possibly a way up of, the pros and cons of letting him through for Hinchcliffe on that one.
Yeah, I think Hinchcliffe just thought, Colourseed's very fast, and I don't feel like battling. Let me get behind. Let me just hold on the slipstream. Let me get things going. Glamsetter very, very wide there, going in through the loop and coming out of the loop. And man, actually, no, sorry, that is not the loop. That's Luffield. I know my Silverstone track. I'm American, but I know Silverstone very well, James. It's okay. This is what happens when you're a Formula fan in the U.S. You get mixed up every once in a while. Anyways, Rune still putting pressure on Glamsetter here and just trying to set something up. We go through Maggots and Beckett's yet again. And another time, Rune, slightly different line to Glamsetter. Glamsetter is really, really trying to back up Rune. And I'm going to propose something to you, James. Do you think Glamsetter is throwing a bluff and trying to just back Rune up, get Rune to pit, and then as soon as Rune pits, Glamsetter is going to pedal to the metal and send this car around as fast as possible?
Because Rune's going to... No. Bruce, no, they go. Rune's got to be looking at going in the pits. Get it out the way. You can't keep sitting here. Malaire is coming. The group behind, you've extended the gap out to 2.6. And mind you, that was down to 2.3 at one point with Ridgeway leading Barbaru, Barhin and Solano. So, it's got to be a little bit more mindset. Shana has just conceded a place to Colourseed, I believe, as well. And Colourseed is now gone through and chasing after Anthony Serrano. Mackenzie Rune, side by side again. This is going through Village into the loop as well. He's going to try and get out of the cutback and go down Aintree. Is he going to be able to make it through? He's not going to be able to make it through again. Surely he's got to be looking at the undercut. He's just not making it through.
He's got to make something stick here. Side by side, they come through into Luffield, out of Woodcote, around, and again, just Christian Glamsetter is positioning this F3 car, this Dahler F3 car, just perfectly to defend it. But it's almost painful because the pace isn't there. And now we've got James Malaire into the mix as well. That Knox eMotorsports driver is in the mix and is just looking for what he can do to try to get two cars for the price of one. How long can this battle stick? The tension is there. Who's going to take the needle and pop the balloon? And where's the confetti? Where does this end, James? How does this end?
Well, hopefully it will end up with three men coming over the start-finish line and not three men making a big old mess of carbon fibre all over the racetrack. Let us know who you think is going to win in the YouTube chat as well, please. That would be absolutely amazing. As we're on at the moment, the air intake of James Malaire going down now as well. He's had enough. I was expecting one of them, but I was not expecting Malaire to blink first. I really thought it would have been Mackenzie Rune, and he hasn't. So Malaire now has got to come out and absolutely pedal to the metal. Malaire's in, Ridgeway's in, Scott Barhin's in, and Victor Solano as well as the front two are still scrapping it out. Rachel Jimenez has just gone in. Tyler Nielsen's just gone in. You can see it on the left-hand side. Everybody, pretty much most people entering into the pit lane, apart from the two leaders. Now, me personally, I would have got in. If I was Rune, I would have got in. You're leaving yourself way open to Miller to jump you here just by getting held up.
I think this is a case of a driver getting that tunnel vision, that fixation. Rune saying, I know I'm faster than Glamsetter. I know I can get past and then pit. And the thing is, it's not a case of you need to get the pass done on track. You can get the pass done on strategy. And this is what I talked about earlier during the qualifying warm-up, is sometimes you've got to have that spotter, that race engineer, to gut check the driver. And sometimes as a driver, you just have to gut check yourself. You've been trying for 15 laps now. Over half of this race you've been trying to get this pass done on Glamsetter. You've had your moments, you've had your chances, you've had it for a corner and then not been able to set it up. You've got a strong defense from Glamsetter ahead, who is positioning that car just perfectly through Maggots and Beckett's and just setting things up where you aren't going to get the pass done on track. And if you get it done, it's not going to be clean. And now you're going to be under pressure from James Miller, Robert Ridgway, and I would even say Scott Barton might be in the mix as well. And Solano. These drivers are really going to start putting pressure on Glamsetter and Rune, especially if they don't just go ahead and get their butts in the pits.
Yeah, I'm expecting they've got to go in. I'm so surprised he went in with him. I am literally in shock that he's gone in with him here. Now, it's all about what Miller is going to do. Is Miller... Did he get a good outlap? It looks like it. Doesn't look like he had any trouble on his outlap now as well. Is Glamsetter stopped? Are they stopped? They are stopped. Oh, they did not stop. They're still going. Miller's almost coming round it into club here. Now they've all stopped. Where is James Miller? Here he comes. Is he going to be able to make this through? And is he going to be able to get these guys? They're on their way out. Miller's up to speed. Stay tuned for this one, because where is the Christian Glamsetter? He is there. Here comes Miller again. He didn't get it, but he's got one lap warmer tyres than the guys in front. Can he now push up to the back once more and try and hassle these guys? That undercut clearly, I eat my words here as well, because I said it should have gone for it. Hasn't worked for James Miller.
James Miller has till the end of this lap to try to get a pass done on Rune or Glamsetter. He has till the end of this lap, and the issue is he's just outside of the second. And now, as I say that, he's coming around because these two cars in front are nursing slightly cold tires. They've got to warm these tires up, get things going. And I do think if James Miller just gets this lap right here, and Rune and Glamsetter need to get this out lap, especially as we come up here towards Maggots and Beckett's coming out of the old pit straight. Look at Glamsetter weaving ahead, trying to get some heat in those tires, knows the pressure that he's under. James Miller here has already closed this gap to about a quarter of a second on Rune. This, James, is going to be very, very critical for this round one here. And this league, and it is very, very close. Look at this through Maggots and Beckett's. If Rune can hold on for a little... I think Miller might have him by the end of the straight.
Yeah, I think Miller's going to get him on the way down into Stowe. He's got a lot warmer tyres. He's got a lot more grip. You can see there as well. Glamsetter's in front. He's trying to weave. He's trying to know. He knows Miller's coming. Miller's going to sweep round the outside of Mackenzie Rune. Mackenzie Rune was just stood still like he's waiting for a bus. Bye-bye, Mr. Miller. Now go get Glamsetter if he can. He's got to get it done soon, though, because Glamsetter's tyres are going to be just as warm as his very, very shortly here, Brad. And he's got to be looking at trying to get Glamsetter at the same time. But he's got Mackenzie Rune, and that was very, very credible.
Those Knox eMotorsports drivers and team right now are jumping up and down, very, very happy. And now Christian Glamsetter needs to take the team name of No Limits Sim Racing and make sure that he has no limits all the way to the end of this race. Lap 17 to 26. James Miller, you are in a position to win this, and I hope you recognize that. Mackenzie Rune, just, again, the blinders on, sees Glamsetter ahead and tried for it. And James, give yourself a little bit of redemption, because the undercut worked a bit better than it appeared.
Yeah, I think it was the case of the warm tyre situation, wasn't it? And I think that's the thing for Miller. He had a lot more warmer. You can see Glamsetter was weaving all over the place. Robert Ridgway with Scott Barton and Victor Solano still fighting out. So Barton just made a mistake. That's going to allow Solano to come up the inside. And at the moment, is he going to make it through? He is going to make it through. Scott there, the Australian, of course, did not, unfortunately, hold that position. He's going to try and come back at him once more here as well for Bahin. He's going to try and come through, not making it through this time. Mackenzie Rune's closed the gap up to Malaire. It's now down to about 4 attempts. Nope, as I say that, back out to 5, and it seems to be the Maggots Beckett's complex that's costing Mackenzie Rune here as well.
I almost wonder if we didn't slightly overestimate Mackenzie Rune's pace, because it's seeming that it might have been a bit of slipstream that was really helping Mackenzie Rune stay on Glamsetter. And now that things are opening up, as James Malaire is putting pressure on Christian Glamsetter here, Mackenzie Rune doesn't seem to be able to stay to the back of these cars ahead as easy as Mackenzie Rune was before the pit stop. Now, of course, there could have been a front wing change, like a downforce setting. I have no way to know what the team did there. But Mackenzie Rune doesn't seem to be as tight on the back of these cars as I was expecting. And James Malaire is putting some good pressure on Christian Glamsetter. Now, as I say that, the gap starts closing back down to about half a second. And it's going to be very nip and tuck for the next 8 laps of action. I don't have a clear answer here on who's going to finish where as we go through, James. It's truly going to come down to, I think, last lap before I can say for sure.
Yeah, the problem is there's a back marker in front of Christian Glamsetter there as well. That's Mateus Balcar is in front. How are you going to deal with this one? Scott Bynes just about to go round the outside of Solano here. He's tried that outside line. Solano didn't let him through. Now he's going to come back the other way. You're going to be carrying more place here, Scott. Can you make it through? Solano slid and made a little bit of mistake. Now here it comes, Scott. Is he going to be able to make it on that run down into Cops? Scott's got to be looking at the inside. He does. He opens it up. He's going to be coming up the inside now as well. Is there going to be contact? Oh. The Australian and the American wheel-to-wheel through Cops there was not Verstappen and Hamilton. Verstappen did not get a 14G impact here as well, and that was good old Scott who did that move over Solano, and a great job from him as well. Mackenzie Rune may have just made a mistake here, because I'm not going to lie, he's dropped nearly 1.2 seconds back from Malaire. It's all on where Malaire's going to go here, but Solano's not giving this one up here, Brad. He's still going at Scott and still going as much as he can.
Victor Solano, watch this. I was thinking to dive down the inside here, and he doesn't do it.
That's the back marker. You need to decide what you're going to do, Mateus. Stay on the inside. I'm sure there might be a little bit of a conversation about how that one went. I can tell you that much here as well. That was a little bit more predictable than that one, than just throwing your car to the right-hand side, because if either of these men had gone on that outside line, your end would have ended up in their front, and it would not have been good for you there as well. Buchanan looks like he's just had a moment. I think he's actually just slowed down to allow Scott and Solano to come through here, and still some great battles going on, and I think this could come down to the last lap here with these two. I want to say I don't think it's necessarily done up front, but I think for Glamsetter, Malaire and Rune, they might kind of be where they are. They might finish where they are at the moment.
Yeah, I think Rune especially is going to be just right there, because that gap is fluctuating just in and out of a second. It's very nip and tuck, but this Barton Solano battle is going to be very, very spicy through the end. I will say, I just kind of watching through some drivers on the horn yelling there about Balclair's little moment there on that straight, just going through. And this is an iRacing thing. Maybe using the text and saying, hey, pass left, pass right is fine. But, Formula, blue flags, you've got to get out of the way of those faster cars behind and give them room. I will say, I would be surprised if there's not a steward's inquiry after the fact on that moment, because that was very, very close. And who is missing their front wheel? I don't think that's how an F3 car is meant to go.
No, that's Rachel Jimenez, and I can't quite work out where that was done. I'm just trying to see if it may have been on the surround. Oh no!
Oh!
That's a back marker.
Oh! I know I saw the radios lighting up there for Rachel Jimenez, and I wasn't sure why, but Rachel was very, very unhappy, and I wasn't sure what happened, but back marker.
If that is the Curtis Rogers incident, and this is Rachel Jimenez coming through, I can fully understand this grievance here. Jimenez comes around the corner. There's nowhere. Where are you going? Oh, dude. Oh, my goodness gracious. Corey, Curtis Rogers, I believe. I have no words, dear sir. Me and you need a conversation because this is just not the way you do this. This is not the way you do it. Poor Rachel Jimenez just nowhere to go, and Curtis Rogers, well, there needs to be some major apology in that one, and if there isn't, there's got to be a major penalty in that one also, because that was just borderline ridiculous driving. And I'm sorry, I know we're supposed to be here and we're supposed to be biased, but Curtis Rogers, what was that? What absolutely was that? And Rachel Jimenez is just jumped into chat and just got, you should show what happened to me. We literally have, just at the moment that you come in, that was awful.
The stewards are going to have a good time with that one. The stewards are going to have a very good time with that one. Rule number one that my mom and my dad taught me when I started running and racing: if you wreck, you hold the brake. And if you're in a way that you can go forward and around, go forward. You shouldn't use the reverse unless you can't go forward.
And he could go forward.
That was painful. James, that was just painful for me to watch. And Rachel was our AM leader.
She was at the time. She was at the time, so obviously clearly not now, but for Rachel, she was at the time. That's what makes it even worse there as well. And I don't often get stuck for words, but I'm sorry, Curtis Rogers, if you watch that back, that was absolutely terrible driving. And if you would like some advice on using some of the overlays and stuff that are readily available for you to look at the feet, to look at your relative, please reach out. It's JPB Broadcasting on Discord, and I will happily point you in the direction of it there as well. I don't often give drivers this amount of grief, but that, I've got to be honest, was just absolutely awful here as well. Solano is battling out, and we've got Serrano also, he's just lost that place to Ian Lance there as well. So Anthony Serrano, but that may have also had something to do with the fact that Anthony Serrano did that. Got a big old snap, and off he goes and through here as well. So, yeah, there we go. Battling still materialising. Glam Seater still out in front. What more could you ask for?
Oh, man. Good battles all the way through. And continue to watch here. Solano is continuing to keep up with Barton here. Serrano, kudos to you for saving that, because that was a big snap that I just saw go through, and most drivers would have just caught it, went the wrong way, around, into the wall. Good racecraft there, and look at Solano here, up the inside of Barton, that number 1 versus the number 99, and Solano doing very, very good to get that pass done for P6. Very, very clean move, and now Solano needs to just hold on to it, but we're going down the straight, and this is going to be where Slipstream comes in. You can see Barton diving around out, going to look up the inside, and that number 99 is going to try to set things up to get that position right back, and these two are going to be very close. And James, I'm going to bring your attention forward, because James Malaire and Mackenzie Roon are keeping things very, very close here, and that gap has closed considerably. Don't know if something happened with James Malaire, but Mackenzie Roon, as we head down into Maggots Beckett's, is about to put some pressure and possibly find that P2 back.
Yeah, definitely here as well, and I think this could be an interesting one from Mackenzie Roon. How is he going to cope as we go just on to the right front suspension there of Mackenzie Roon? You see here as well, Malaire didn't really take Maggots and Beckett's in the cleanest way, but it was clearly cleaner than Rune, as Rune now starts closing in. Glamseat is just sat in the middle of the track. You know what I mean? He's having the ride of his life up there at the moment as well. He's just literally keeping this going. 1.1 seconds it's gone down to. Rune's now coming at Malaire. Is he going to be able to make this through? Well, this is going to be the question. Can he make it through this time around? He's not. He's just got to wrap it up. Go again here for Mackenzie Rune, I think, Brad, and just make sure he can definitely get this pass done before the end. Whether or not he's given his tyres enough time just to sit back and chill before he goes again, this is only going to be something that we're going to see. But I think overall, it's been a very interesting evening of racing, and I think with Mackenzie Rune, he's also been in that very, very tough situation where he's trying to go forward. He was also trying to defend in the first half because he was between these two, and now it's roles reversed. Rune's doing the chasing. Malaire has got to decide about trying to go forward or defending Mackenzie Rune. So I think either way, this could be an interesting battle as we're going into the last three.
Yeah, last three here, and the gap's opened up front, but look at this, down the inside is James Malaire trying to hold on. Inside here turns to the outside, and for Mackenzie Rune, the inside line right here around this long right-hander, that's what you want. And now as we come through, it's going to be side-by-side around coming out, and who will get this as we go down the old pit straight, heading down into Copse Corner? Are they going to try side-by-side through Copse again? Is this our second side-by-side through Copse? It is not, because it is Mackenzie Rune getting back ahead of James Malaire, and now it's deja vu all over again. Setter, Rune, Malaire, 1, 2, 3. And look at this. James Malaire not giving up here, James, and trying to keep a little bit of pressure through Maggots and Beckett's. Coming through Chapel, down into the hangar straight. How does this play out? I don't have a good answer how this plays out. Stick around for 3 more laps, and we will tell you in about 3 laps' time.
The only thing I'm worried about here is the fact that Rune has got pace. He's done the fastest lap of the race the last time out on a 1:51.57. He's got pace. So for Malaire, to be fair, I would just allow Rune to go and stay with him like I was doing in the first half. Malaire has got the pace over Glamsitter, and I don't think I'm wrong in that one. I think for Rune, he was just quick. You know, the gap, he's already taken a tenth out of him as well. So for James Malaire, just sit there. Allow him to have it. Allow him to get you forward to Glamsitter, but it's always that situation where you know what you should be doing, and then you do this. And then it just kind of goes all wrong, doesn't it?
It does, and look at this ahead. That opens up a half second to Glamsetter there from Malaire trying to dive up the inside of Rune and trying to force a pass through. I fully agree with you here, James. Stick behind, because I think Rune can get you closer to Glamsetter by the end. And here's the thing, too. Look behind Malaire, and that is Baraboo. That is Mackenzie Rune's teammate in the background. So these two battling is going to roll in the teammates. And then what do the teammates want to do? They want a double podium. I'll go ahead and answer that. Round 1 with a double podium. They would love it. So you've got to also have that in mind. But again, you're a driver. You want that position up. Mackenzie Rune wants to keep Malaire behind, and Malaire is going to push a lot to try to get past here. We come through Copse yet again down towards Maggots and Beckett's, and this, I think James Malaire, half a second gap here is going to have to settle it in, but James Malaire is fast through Maggots and Beckett's. Watch this gap just continue to close down, James, and as we head down the hangar straight, I just wonder what you can do here with 2 to go.
Yeah, well, Malaire can't do a lot, unfortunately. He just got a slide on coming out of Maggots and Beckett's, and unfortunately put himself in that position. Colour Seed is now caught up to the back of Anthony Serrano. We do have Solano and Serrano here in this race, so we will make sure that we do get them right here, and we are going to go and see how Solano is getting on with Barton here as well, as these guys have not really left each other alone for the whole entire race, and are still not leaving each other alone either. It's very, very interesting. Colour Seed and Serrano are now battling as well here, Brad. A couple of battles we'll keep an eye on as we'll be coming over the line in about a lap's time for the final lap of the race.
Yeah, plenty of battles all the way through, plenty of positions still to decide here, and it's been an exciting round 1, but remember, the race isn't over till Barney throws the checkered flag, and we've still got a couple more minutes of racing here to go through, and watching Coliseum here with Serrano as I feel we now need to put emphasis on the names all the
I
way
agree.
through, as you are.
I agree.
And was that a little bit of smoke? Did somebody spin there?
Yeah, but I've got a funny feeling that may have been Patrick Mitrovic. But unlike Curtis Rogers, stay, now go, no, get off the track.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. That's the safe way. And that was the bit that confused me. That wasn't too clever, though. I probably would have gone inside the sausage curb on that one.
Yep.
But I think if I was Rogers on that situation, two things would be happening about now. A, I would go back and look at what I've done. B, I would be, hey, Rachel Jimenez, can I have your address? I need to send you some flowers for wrecking your race. Instantly, that would be my first option. Make sure Rachel doesn't, come on whenever she sees me or meets you or whatever. You know what I mean? They are in the same country. They're both in the States, mate. So, quick flight over, and Jimenez is there at his door going, hello? I would be, let me send you flowers. And then I'd kind of go back and reflect for a day on what I need to have made that different. And I think one of the things you need to make it different here as well, pay attention to your relative. Never, ever, ever reverse onto the track when you could clearly see forward was going to be the best way. And he had ample amount of room there, Brad, as well. So I think from that perspective, I would be literally in the DMs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a feeling that one's going to be discussed over and over and over again. And I could go on for hours about that. But yeah. I think we'll save that for a post-race debrief here as we hit the white flag here, and this battle for 10th between Serrano and Colaseed is still going. We've still got P2 to decide up ahead as the leaders are going through Luffield and Woodcote. I mean, still plenty of battles that we can decide on. Colaseed, Serrano. Oh, this one's going to be close all the way to the line.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go for it then. I know this is the AM leader in Serrano, and I know Colaseed at the moment is obviously the pro at the back of the pro field. But, go for it. The problem is I don't actually know if Colaseed's got any more pace than Serrano. He's not doing times that are massively different. Last time out was a 1:52.6 for Colaseed, 1:53.1. But the best lap time, Serrano's actually up by 2 tenths. So Serrano has got the best lap time of a 1:52.4. Colaseed on a 1:52.6. Serrano on a 1:52.4. So I don't actually know if he's got the pace, but we will pick up Christian Glamsida here as well. He's going to be coming over the line. He's going to be taking the victory in the opening race of the iFormula F3 round 1 live from Silverstone. Christian Glamsida comes over the line. He takes that victory from the No Limit Sim Racing team as well. Mackenzie Roon does get second place, 1.5 ahead of James Blair, and then Marion Barbaroux comes over behind that. Robert Ridgway, Scott Barton did get near him, didn't quite get through, and Victor Solano comes over the line as well. So some great action racing taking place here this evening with Ian Lance also finishing in 9th in class. And I'll say in class because the leading AM is Serrano, who is going to finish in first in AMs ahead of Adrian Colaseed. I was surprised that didn't get a lot further up there, Brad. I'm surprised he didn't move a lot closer to the top 10 than what he has done.
Yeah, Colaseed is probably the shock of the race for me in terms of their position, because I really expected Colaseed to be further up by the end of the race, and I have to wonder if that doesn't come down to pace or if Colaseed isn't playing, just that long season game. It's 12 races and probably just sitting back a little bit, looking at the overhead big picture and saying, you know what? I can afford to finish a little bit further back here in round 1 because I can make it up here in the next round. Colaseed, lots of pace, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. But Roon, Malaire, and Glamsetter, if they battle like that for the duration of this season, it is going to be very, very competitive racing here on the JP Broadcasting Network.
I absolutely believe that one as well. So the results will be coming in very, very shortly here as well, if the timing software decides it wants to kick in. But let's bring up the results from the race whenever you're ready. I promise you, just take your time. Just there we go. Christian Glausida is your winner with Mackenzie Roon in second. James Miller finishes in third place. Marion Barbaru in fourth, with Robert Ridgway in fifth. Scott Barton in sixth. Victor Solano in seventh place. Then we've got Tyler Nilsson in eighth and Ian Lance down in 10th. Anthony Serrano takes the win in the AMS with Adrian Colourseed in 11th. Alex Hinchcliffe and Carlos Navarro were 12th and 13th overall, but were second and third in class. Jack Clark in 14th and Alexander Shana in 15th place. Mateus Balcar in 16th. Corey Buchanan in 17th. Patrick Metrovics in 18th. And Rachel Jimenez last listed there in 19th place. And behind Jack, you've got Curtis Rogers, Hans Juncker, and John Journey there as well. I think we can safely say that was a very interested evening of racing, and I'm going to bring the young man who finished in second. He battled away with Glamsita all the way through. After the pit stops, it was all about James Miller, but now it's all about Mackenzie Roon here as well. Mackenzie, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm very well. I'm very well. I do want to ask you a question. And it's a very topical question, Mackenzie. Do you feel you should have gone in for the undercut a lot earlier than following Glamsita into the pits?
Yeah, hindsight 2020, that would have probably been the smarter move. I realized it far too late, but yeah, absolutely agree with that. Yeah,
I do as well. But to be fair, once you cleared James Miller again, who of course was on the warm tyres, you closed the gap up once more. It's a tough one, right? Because I know it's only round one, but every point counts. And do you see this as a big missed opportunity?
I'd say it's a good taster for what's to come. So, I mean, hats off to Christian. Amazing race, amazing pace, super fun, clean racing. Same to James. That was just a lot of fun. But no, I don't think missed opportunity. I think a good taste test.
Very diplomatic, Mackenzie. Very diplomatic there, sir, as well. Going forward, though, do we think it's going to be a three-horse race, or do we think the likes of Barbaru, Ridgway, Barton, Solano could all end up improving and getting themselves into the championship fight?
Oh, I know for a fact those guys that you just mentioned are super fast. I race against them all the time in the officials. So today's podium is not going to be a repeated thing. I fully expect all those guys to be up front.
Well, there you go. Nice diplomatic words from Mackenzie Roon there. Mackenzie, thanks so much for joining us. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go, young sir?
Big shout out to Get Good Racing. Just super fun practicing with the guys, talking about different lines, lots of tips. So great job to everybody on the team. And then, of course, JP Broadcasting. You guys do an awesome job. And then the iFL admins, thanks for putting this on.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, dear sir. And I'll look forward to hopefully. Are you in later on? Will I see you again later? IGP?
I'm doing yes, actually. Yep, I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, mate. Take care, Mackenzie, and I'll catch you soon, buddy. All right, next up in the booth is James Miller, finished in third place, for the Knox E Motorsports team. He had a battle here as well. He come out, he tried the undercut, it worked. He jumped Mackenzie Roon with the faster tyres. He was literally seconds and he held on to it. And then Roon came through and took it there as well. James, sorry, buddy. I had to hype it up a little bit. How was it for you?
It was good. It honestly went as good as expected. I didn't do a whole lot of testing this week. I was happy to be tagging along with those two guys up front in the beginning early. And P4 and 5, I think, were battling early, which kind of gave us a gap. And then it was just, keep it upright. Played my only chip in the bag, which was the undercut, and you're right, it worked out, but just fatigue set in towards the end, and I just didn't have the pace to hold them off. It was a good race overall, though. We'll take it.
Fatigue for you, or tire deg within the tires?
A little of both. I think it's more me. You just, it sort of sets in and you start hitting, not adjusting the way you should for where the tires are at. And, the chicane was giving me all kinds of problems there at the end for the final 6 or 7 laps. I was losing a tenth or two there every lap. And that was really it. Everywhere else I felt okay. I couldn't make it stick there the way I needed to keep Rune at bay.
Okay, where do we see James Miller in the championship? Where are we thinking you could finish here?
I'm thinking P1 is still up for grabs. I think there's enough tracks with enough variety in them, and anything can happen. So I think it's still there for the taking for probably 4 or 5 drivers. Realistically, have a shot at taking P1 in the drivers. Anything outside of P3, I think would be a disappointment. So we just got to get back in the lab and make sure we're ready for the next one.
Okay, buddy. Well, good luck on the next one. It's going to be very interesting to see you out on track there as well. James, anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
No, we're good. Just iFL, all you guys in the broadcast booth, we appreciate you. Noxie Motorsports, Lumos, everybody back home. So we're good there. Thank you.
No worries, buddy. Well, take care, bud, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, see you then. Thanks.
Well, there you go, Brad. Mackenzie Rue wasn't too down about it. James seemed a lot more upbeat about it. So, overall, I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah, good race overall. One of the things that I caught there was when you were interviewing Mackenzie Room, Mackenzie saying, yeah, I don't expect these top 3 to always be the top 3 because a lot of these guys have pace. So that tells me that if the driver finishing second is already saying that they know things are going to get mixed up, it's going to be a good 12 weeks, James. We're in for a good 12 weeks here, and I am excited to see how these 12 weeks end.
Absolutely. I do fully agree with you on that one as well. It's going to be very interesting here as well. Make sure, guys, you join us later on in about, we got 2.5 hours for the iFormula F1 Grand Prix Series going off then as well. And don't forget, after that as well, keep up to date with all next week's actions. There's Clios, MX-5s, NASCARs, GT4s, Evolutions, there's late models, there's radicals, there's VWSC NARS, R Factors, there's TCRs, there's iFormula Super Formulas, there's VWSC Moderns, R Factor 2s, and if you've not seen them, please come and tune in on Saturday because that is absolutely incredible. There is just so much coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. There is a car and a broadcast for everyone. But for now, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bells because you don't want to miss any of next week's action. But from myself, I've been James Parfitt, up here in the booth with Bradley Dalton. And as always, you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.